Feel that world of prosperity right here and right now. The Life Strategy Show starts now.
Wow, I love that. I love Daniel doing that. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Strategy Show, and it is with Lolita Smith. I'm Dr. Pat, and we team up to do this show. Show is about bringing prosperity and success in your future. And there are elements to this which she has as a fantastic coach, as a powerful, powerful presence in, the wealth and the health industry. She has mentored and provided kingdom instructions for over 20 years. The idea of self is not something she just talks about, but she is mastering the movement between the three domains of self, relationships, and communication. Um, Here we are today having a conversation with her, someone who has been out in the world, understands this format so well, has been in it, has managed it, has worked in the advertising industry for it, and is joining us here today because there is a message for us all. And that is what we're talking about this today. Self. Be true to you. Self. Be true to you. This right here, if we don't get this one right, all of the other things that anybody has ever put out, like anything like success books and all this other stuff that people put out, if you don't get this one right, you are building a foundation on falsities. And if you do that, what do you think you'll get in the end? Lolita, great to have you. It's great. This is a powerful, powerful topic.
Yes, thank you very much. As Dr. Pat just said, this is the foundation of everything. If you don't get this right, nothing else falls in alignment. We are the core of everything that we do. As I started out on this journey, and we're not going to go back, but just recapping even some of the principles that Dr. Pat just talked about. Self is the core of everything. And then you have your relationships and you have your communication. So today, as we moved into, this show, I said, let's focus on how we can get it right so we can move forward into that prosperity and that successful future that we're looking for. I've been on this journey myself for over 20 years now. And as Dr. Pat just said, I've been in the, advertising, broadcasting industry. So I started at the bottom and worked my way up to the top. And when we talked in the last show, I talked about some of the stumbling blocks and things like that, how you can have one area right and you can have another area wrong. But now it's about, let's go to the foundation of where in our lives we went wrong. And that's what this episode is going to be about. A lot of times it's about us and our unique view of ourselves. We take on perceptions and personas of who others say we are. So we want to help undo that so we get back to the core of who we were created to be.
I don't know about you, but I know when I had like my first epiphany, like the wake up thing, whatever you want to call that thing that happens, like all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're like, "Whoa, who's that in the mirror? I don't know you." Right? I mean, it's different for everybody. It kicks off a question in your heart, and then it kicks off a question in your mind, and then it kicks off a question for your life, as you would say, a transformational life strategy question. And, what you just talked about and shared was so important because there are many aspects of being true, of self, right? There are many aspects, be true to you. And I want to talk with you about self, be true to you, because that's very different than other language around this. And I want to ask you, when you hear me say that self, be true to you, it implies, and correctly so, that there is like a whole lot of times self not being true to you, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Most of the time, we have become who someone else has made us to become, whether it's you become Jane's husband or whether you become, Susan's father, or whether you become Lolita's son. We have become the label that others have placed upon us. And in becoming the label and taking that on us, we stop being who we were truly designed to be and almost become a characteristic as opposed to a person. Now, I don't know if that really makes sense, but we take a lot of synonyms on, like you're a workaholic, or either you're a striver or an underachiever, or whatever it may be that you've heard at some point in your life. That's what you become as opposed to who you truly are. So who are you truly? And that is what this journey is about, finding that person. And there are different ways to go about finding that person, but it's going back in and undoing things that's been done so you could correct it and get on the right path.
Part of this too is, let's just be really clear. You are the one who created the Life Strategies Way. This is the Life Strategy Show. You are also, completely the owner of the Life Strategies Mentor Coaching Program, Transformational Life Strategies. And what we're talking about when we're talking about the self is one part of the model, one part of, shall I say, one part of one of the mentoring principles you use. This is what we're focusing on today, right? I want to talk with you a little bit about the self. And there's so many studies that have been done on the self. One of my favorites is the self-fulfilling prophecy study. They stopped doing that study. Why did they stop it? I don't know. Because something about doing research with kids. But the bottom line is, there is an idea of this. Can you talk about the difference between hindsight and insight?
Well, hindsight, of course, is the ability to look back at your past and see the mistakes you made and the experience. You're standing here and you're looking back at the future saying, oh my, how and what I've done in the past, which brings you to the insight of where you are now in the present. So hindsight gives you a reflection of looking back at the things that you've encountered, the things that you've done that has made you who you are based on either mistakes or choices or someone else. So you're looking back at your past to see what has brought you to where you are today. Mm-hmm. And then insight further explains and gives you an understanding on why you are where you are. And I'll give a great example of that. Years ago, I made a wrong decision in a relationship, and I picked up, moved across the country, and it gave me a totally different lifestyle that I was accustomed to. And it made me go and start over where I was based on that relationship. And then when I transitioned back to understand I made a huge mistake, I had that epiphany moment that, oh my God, this was totally terrible. And I tried to pick myself up, get myself back together, and move back to where I had moved from in the first place. I looked back and saw the past mistakes that led me to that point where it was like, oh my, I now have to go back and start from scratch. Sometimes we are in the right place and we make decisions that alter where we are now, and we have to go back and undo what we did to get us to this present state so we could correct our course and go where we need to be. I know that was a mouthful.
No, it's a good mouthful. It's a difference between, I got a mouthful of, I'm sitting a mouthful of, I don't even want to talk about it because I actually love that food, but I'm eating a mouthful of something I don't like, as versus I'm eating a mouthful of that ice cream. I'm taking that in. I like having it in my, because if we're going to really have a conversation about the self, and if we're really going to have a conversation, Lolita, about how the understanding or the nature of us will either shape a life that we truly desire, or in any event, shape a life that we wish we never shaped. And, there are some points in time in our journey where we think that it happened to me, like I had no choice, like I have no control. And we form this perception. And the minute that we realize, in whatever forum you're in, the minute that you can stop, and I don't know about you, but I've had to have help from mentors and coaches for this. But the minute that you realize that you are in a place where just life and the self doesn't sound good, that can be a moment of awakening. What are some of the things that our self tells us? What is it? How does it talk to us, right?
Well, how it talks to us is when you know that something just isn't right, when it's a feeling that you get that something's out of order, if it's some hesitation, some reservation. But the good thing about all of this is, even if you have made past mistakes, even if you've got on off the right track and got off course, there is the hope that you can move forward and turn things around. That's the great thing about this. We all have a past, but the great thing is we can change that past in our future if we do something different than we've done in our past. So what that looks like may be different from everyone. There is no cookie cutter way for anyone in self. What's that epiphany? What's that awareness? We all see it differently. But the great thing is, however you see it, however it comes to you, whatever form or situation, you can get out of that, turn it around, and have a future that you desire. So that's what I'm not about the past. I'm about where you're going, but helping you to understand your past so it can direct you to the correct course in your future.
Yeah, we're going to take a short break, because one of the things that hops up and gets us in the way of making any kind of course correction is a fabulous, fabulous word. It is a word that is really taught in all the 12-step programs, and actually all the transformational programs, that if you are in this place, it's a word that begins with the letter R. If you are in this place and you are carrying this thing around, then it is time for you to step up and do something about it. When we come back from break, Lolita is going to take us through what it is we can do. I'm going to tell you what the word is, and I want you all to look it up when we come back, because it is mentioned throughout all of the 12-step programs. As a matter of fact, when you ask somebody in any program to have anything to do with letting go and moving on, they will tell you that this word, if this energy of this word is showing up in your life, and you don't even have to be an addict to have it show up, but if it's showing up in your life, it is the one thing you want to reach out and get some help with. It is the one thing that Lolita Smith does so well. We're going to take a short break, Benny, everybody. When we come back, what do you think that word is? 1-800-930-2819. If you can tell me what you think that R word is, I got a special gift for you. 1-800-930-2819. We'll give you 3 minutes to call. We'll be right back.
All clear.
Tune into the Life Strategy Show with your life strategy mentor, Lolita Smith, and say yes to bringing prosperity and success to your future right here and right now. Life is a picture of your mind, and Lolita is here to help you imagine it. Say goodbye to the strings of the past that have been holding you back for far too long. Rise up with Lolita and say yes to the solutions, prosperity, and unlimited possibility. Visit lifestrategymentor.com. That's lifestrategymentor.com.
Tune in to the hit show, Us, Critical Conversations on the Challenges of Our Time, with me, Dr. Krista Lee Crane, on TransformationTalkRadio.com, every fourth Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific. Listen while we focus on the intersections of truth and justice as we learn how to coexist, pushing our social transformation to the next level. Become true stewards of the justice that is needed in our world. Learn more at preventionagenda.org. That's preventionagenda.org.
Are you looking to gain wisdom and commit to discovering your best self? What does success mean to you? With authenticity, integrity, and compassion, Mita Johnson helps guide you in working toward your unique vision of success. Mita is a spirit-based intuition lead and success coach. Work with Mita to uncover your unique life purpose. Schedule a free discovery call with Mita at personalwisdomcoachingnow.com.
Are you ready to put down that drink or drug for good? Are you struggling to maintain your recovery from addictive behaviors? Do you need help with a family member or loved one who's in early recovery or battling addiction? Get the help and guidance you need by arranging a recovery recharged phone session with me, Ellen Stewart, Pushy Broad from the Bronx, certified life and recovery coach. Call 1-800-889-1757. Make an appointment today or go to my website, pushybroadfromthebronx.com, and click on the link that says Recovery Recharged. Don't wait. Get the help you need today. This is Ellen Stewart, Pushy Broad from the Bronx on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Have you heard about shifting the collective vibration and consciousness on the planet? Join me, Kimberly Barrett, on the Sharing Love and Light show every first and third Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern at TransformationTalkRadio.com to explore the depth of vibration and consciousness on our planet and learn how you can shine your love and light. To learn more, visit SharingLoveAndLightShow.com.
Ready to come back, Pat? All right, stand by. Did you see my question and comment about the caller?
Anybody calling with the word? All right. Welcome back, everybody. Before we go to the word, we've got a caller that wants to guess on the word. But before we go there, I want to just make sure everybody knows this is a life strategy show with Lolita Smith, bringing prosperity and success in your future. Today, we're talking about one of the principles of mentoring that she has, not only created, but she has mastered and created a powerful mentoring program for you, whether you're in business or you're not. It doesn't matter. And today it's about self, be true to you. I want to make sure everybody out there knows how to get a hold of her. Lifestrategymentor.com. Make sure you go ahead and do that. When you go to her website, you'll see a lot of information about her, but more importantly, you'll see ways to work with her, contact her, and all of the above. If you go to facebook.com, it's life-strategy-mentor Lolita-Smith. But you can also go there and type in Facebook, Lolita Smith, Life Strategy Mentor, and you get her. I have a caller that called and wants to guess at the word. Ready? Lolita, you ready?
Yes, ready.
Benny, let's see. Who do we have?
Charlene, welcome to the show.
Hey, Charlene, welcome. Great to have you. Great to connect with you again.
So the word is responsibility.
Close. Can I tell you what it is? But you're right.
Sure.
I may have to give you credit for that. The word is resentment. The word resentment. Right, because we were talking about what is that thing that will clog up your energy faster than anything. What is it that really we're talking about the self, Charlene, right? So in the self, it's one of the energy words that captures so much energy of immobilization that usually a resentment really means you're holding something against somebody, right? And there's a solution for that, which Lolita is going to talk about in a minute. But it's actually resentment. I'm going to give you like a little gift anyway. So make sure Benny has your information. I'll send it to you. The bottom line, responsibility is also mentioned in all the programs. You're absolutely right, but not as a roadblock, right? Resentment, let me give you the exact quote. Resentment in these programs is called the number one offender. Not number two. Not all y'all drinking, all you using, not all that. That's bad too, but so what? It's different. But resentment, when you carry it around, whether you're an addict or an alcoholic or you're in an addiction, if you're carrying resentment around, it doesn't mean You have to be in that realm. But if you're carrying it around, it is weighing you down. If you carry around, if resentment is what you carry around, it will weigh you down. Thank you, Charlene. Make sure we get your information. Thank you. What do you think about the resentment word, Charlene?
Okie dokie.
Uh-oh, did I hit like a nerve right there? Woo! I love that word. Thank you, Charlene. There is a solution. There is a resolution. There is a life strategy to really overturn resentment. There is a transformational life strategy to do it. And you have it. You going to tell us what it is, Lolita Smith?
Yes, I am. And actually, it is paired with resentment. Absolutely. And it is forgiveness. Forgiveness will keep you stuck and immobile. And it's hard to ask someone to forgive someone. Most people stay so stuck and can't move forward in the life that they dream of or the life that they desire because they haven't forgiven someone or a situation in the past. And so because of the offense, they become paralyzed. And what I try to do is help you to understand from a different point of view and look at it, that once you forgive, it allows you to be free. If you don't know how to move on, that's what I'm here to help you move through the process.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean forgiveness, number one, that you have to reconcile with someone. It doesn't mean that you have to become best friends with someone. It doesn't even mean that you have to have a relationship with someone. But it means you have to release your anger or your hatred or your resentment, here's that word again, of something that has happened so that you can move on with your life and be healthy. You know, a lot of times we look at others and we play the blame game and we don't take accountability for ourselves. And that's why self is so important. Are we blaming someone else for things in our lives, which they could be a causative effect of things in our life? But are we also accountable for the choices and the actions that we've made? But whether it's someone else or if it's yourself, you still have to forgive yourself just like you have to forgive someone else. So today we're going to talk about how to move through actually forgiving someone, how to move past a situation or an offense that's been holding you back, robbing you of going forth in your future. And it's nothing magical. It's not going to happen overnight. It is a process and it takes time so you can heal, because it didn't take an overnight practice for you to be offended. So it's really not going to take an overnight practice for you to get over it that soon. So when we talk about forgiveness, how do you forgive someone? What you do is you have to be the bigger person and decide to forgive. It gives you the power over the situation. One of the favorites, and I think Dr. Pat says Lolita-isms or colloquialisms, but one of the things I always say is, he who angers you controls you. That's very powerful. And I had decided in my life to not have anyone control my life or my destiny or the choices that I make. So if that means that you have to forgive someone so they no longer have power over you, that is the first step to decide, I am going to forgive. It doesn't matter what they did, because you're not forgiving necessarily the action because it occurred. What you're doing is you're being bigger to forgive the situation for yourself.
If you don't, then we can't even have a conversation about the self. See, if we're thinking forgiveness for that other person, then we can't have a conversation about the self. It is one of the greatest misconceptions there is about the word forgiveness. You know, the other thing let's talk about too, because this is really directly related to what you help people with, right? Yes. You know, you're going to talk about the how in a minute. But the reason for doing it is because I had my friend Bonnie Barnard say to me once, I'm going to tell you something, Pat. You have to learn the most selfish thing you'll ever have to do. And I'll say, what? She said, forgiveness. You have to learn to forgive. I said, wait a minute. How is that self? She said, here's the thing. You're not doing it for the other person. You're doing it for yourself. Because think about the burden that you're carrying. Yes, there are some amends and things you're going to have to do. But when you're having a resentment about somebody else, then the bottom line is you have to be able to release and let go of the energy of that. The other thing, and that I'd love for you to talk to, is walk us through how do you forgive? But the other thing to keep in mind, just because we do this, it does not mean that we are condoning a behavior. The last thing you ever want to tell somebody that has been physically abused or otherwise, that forgiveness means that that thing that happened to you is okay, right?
Right, absolutely. It is not okay. And that's the main thing. But what you're doing is you are giving yourself power. And what you're doing is giving yourself power to forgive yourself as well. Sometimes things happen to us and we believe it's our fault. And so by you forgiving, you're not letting go or condoning or, acknowledging the situation. What you're saying is, I'm going to forgive it or that offender so I can move on with my life. And that's the difference. You're never condoning any type of act of violence whatsoever, or whatever the situation may be. But it is an internal process for you to let go of the hurt, that anger, or, even bitterness that you may be harboring for years.
I want to talk to you about this when we come back, because really the next part of this really rolls right into, I don't even know how. This is great. I really want to do it. I really want to do it. But I don't even know where to start. When we come back from break, Benny, Lolita Smith is going to walk us through, what do you do? How do you do it? What do you have to carry within inside you? What is your heart filled with? And even if you do decide to walk forward and do this with another person, what if they say some things to you that you just don't want to hear or just didn't expect to hear? That's why you work with Lolita Smith. We could take a short break, everybody. When we come back, she's going to walk us through 5 steps. You're going to get them, you're going to know what to do, and then you're going to still want to call her, because talking about them is like a lot easier than doing them. Let's take a short break, everybody. We'll be right back.
All clear.
Tune into the Life Strategy Show with your life strategy mentor, Lolita Smith, and say yes to bringing prosperity and success to your future right here and right now. Life is a picture of your mind, and Lolita is here to help you imagine it. Say goodbye to the strings of the past that have been holding you back for far too long. Rise up with Lolita and say yes to the solutions, prosperity, and unlimited possibility. Visit lifestrategymentor.com. That's lifestrategymentor.com.
Are you ready to expand and move forward and create the love in your life that you truly desire and deserve? Specializing in consensually non-monogamous and polyamorous relationships, Elizabeth Cunningham works with all people who want to expand and grow the love they have in their lives. Contact Elizabeth for more information on love coaching and applying for her online course, Love Deeper, at elizabethcunningham.com.
Are you having difficulty feeling at home in your own home? Join Annette Rigolo and Dr. Pat in Enlightened Environments, Optimizing from the Outside In, as they present a deep dive into the various vibrations of the earth, along with man-made energies that impact our lives. Using the diamond dowsing method, we will utilize specific vibrations to elevate our own homes to support us and expand us with their energy. Join us every third Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Time to make your home home.
Are you ready to experience full body system wellness? Tune in to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright, a spiritual toolbox for your life. Embrace the fullness of who you are as a spiritual being, having a human experience. Pam Bright is a multi-dimensional healer, light language channel, energy intuitive, and spiritual transformation coach. Join her for a rich conversation about how to unlock all your spiritual gifts on Transformation Talk Radio.
Tune in to Awaken Your Magic Within, reveal unconscious systems to discover your unstoppable freedom power. Join me, Tracy Lynn Wallace, on TransformationTalkRadio.com the first Tuesday of each month, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, to gain insight, direction, and tools to uncover limiting beliefs. Get ready to step into your unstoppable power to discover and uncover your magic within.
Stuck in a roundabout of dysfunction? Stop circling around difficult issues and find out what's been holding you back. Learn how to speak your truth to power with host Dr. Kathy Obear. Create real change with smart tools and smart strategies. No frills, no fluff, just life-changing conversations to help get you where you want to be. Extend your reach and become an agent for real change with Kathy Obear. For more information on Kathy and her work, please visit drkathyobear.com. That's drkathyobear.com.
12-step program.
Yeah,
So,
you know, I don't think you that. No, there would be no reason for you to do it.
Ready to come back?
Yes, Benny, thank you. Hey, everybody, if you want to work on what we're talking about today, and I really mean it, if you cannot energy of resentment and look at that in your life, if you heard us talking about it and you just cringed and you thought, no, I'm not going to look at it, I'm going to tell you that is the first step to your freedom right there. Boy, it was the first step to mine. I didn't realize what the heck I was carrying in my younger years. And I got to tell you, I still go through it and stuff comes up that I didn't even think happened. Right. The day I knew I was free was when Richard Nixon stopped showing up on my inventory. That's when I was like, okay, I'm on a pathway here. But for real help on this, I want you all to go to Lolita Smith and reach out to her, lifestrategymentor.com. You'll see that she offers many things. You'll find out more about her on her website. But more importantly, if you really want to get unstuck, this is what she does. She will mentor you through it. And today we're talking about we're talking about the first aspect of the mentorship program she has, and it's about the self. Lolita, look, I talked about resentment, but there is a solution. Most people say, great, I hear you both. It's so good. I get it now. But they're like, I don't even know where to begin. Can you walk us through the 5 steps or the 5 ways you've outlined that you help people to learn how to forgive someone? Could you do that?
yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Cool.
As I take a sigh, because this is not easy. And no one ever said it was going to be easy. And no one ever said it was going to be a quick fix like we all want. But as we said, you don't have to reconcile with them, but this is for your own internal process and well-being. It's to free you so you can move on. And you do not necessarily have to have them in your life at all if you do not choose to. Sometimes we have to forgive people that we still have no contact with, or it could be people that are no longer here with us that have gone on, but still you could be holding something that they did in the past. So as we said, that's a prime example of this is showing you this is for you and not for someone else. Now, the steps that are necessary to move past so you can forgive and be free and start to live life the way we are created and destined to be is, I kind of gave you a peek of it earlier when we were talking. And the first thing is to be the bigger person. You have to have a made up mind and decide to forgive. This is something that is not whimsical. This is not something that one day you just say, I'm going to do this and I'm not going to continue through with it. No, you have to be the bigger person and you have to decide to forgive. So it is a choice. Just like we made a lot of bad choices, good choices, or indifferent choices, forgiveness, number one, is a choice. And when you make that choice, it starts by giving you the power over the situation, because you're no longer allowing it to control you. You are now putting yourself in the driver's seat to control it. Number two, once you decide that you're going to be the bigger person and that you're going to decide, make a conscientious choice to forgive, so it gives you power over the situation that you felt powerless against for however long you've been harboring it, then you have to decide what direction you want to go in after you forgive. And what I mean by that is, do you want to reconcile and be friends again if it's someone that is family, or if it's someone that's in your inner circle? Or do you want to let go of the anger and move on? And I'll give an example of that. We know as humans, the people who offend us the most and may have hurt us the most are our loved ones. It's your family, your parents, your children. And you have to reconcile with them and forgive them, because number one, yes, they are your family, and we are supposed to forgive our family because that's who we've been given in this life, is our family. However, you have to keep a relationship, because charity starts at home. So you have to forgive yourself, and next you have to forgive the ones that's closest to you, because those are the people that's put around you for you to fulfill your purpose in the earth. But that's the next part in relationships. But I'm just giving you a little bit of how it works together. Now, if it's someone that you do not know, and it's someone, and go back, maybe you were in your youth. I mean, I had a lot of people that offended me in my youth, and I probably offended a lot of people too, let me tell you. But if it's someone that it was 5-10 years ago, you can forgive them, but not reconcile the relationship. So it's more so what is in the best interest of you emotionally and mentally on what direction you want to go to or in after you forgive. And then the third thing or process you have to do is look at the points objectively. Now, we're not talking about if it was something that, of course, was physical or that was horrendous. That's not what we're talking about. But what you need to do is separate yourself from the situation and look at it from the outside looking in. And we're talking about if it was a family member, if it was a coworker, if it was someone in your circle, were you maybe sensitive at that time? Or were you maybe being a little bit overcritical at that time? And maybe the person didn't mean it the way they did, but based on how you were feeling or what you were going through at the time, you may have perceived it to be something wrong or offensive. And I do want to keep pointing out, this is not for something that was, that was offensive, horrendous, abusive, or beyond your control. Those are not the things we're talking about, because there is forgiveness for that too, but it's just a different way to forgive. But ultimately, you have to forgive everything or everyone or situation that has harmed or offended you, because that's your way to move on. We're not talking about anyone else but self today.
So I got to tell you, I'm so glad you pointed that out, because this is really what we're talking about. We are talking about the situation where I can help myself. And let me just talk about something before we take our next break. Timing is everything. And the reason I say timing is everything is because I don't know about you, but there are points in time when the wound is so fresh and it's still open. Even saying the word forgiveness can cause a resentment. And this is why, whenever I talk with people about this, I will send them to folks like you that can walk them through the process to understand what's going on underneath it and know when and if they are ready to do that. The other part of what you talked about is you may have a moment or a ritual of forgiveness where you never say anything to the other person. That doesn't even happen because let's get back to what you said. It's really all about you. And do you tell the other person you've forgiven them? You know what? I don't know that they care. And I don't recommend doing that without some guidance from somebody that knows how to walk you through it. Because that is a situation that doesn't always go the way you think. And when I work with people on this, and when they have to go out and make amends, there's an aspect of this that do no harm to yourself or another person. And if going back to somebody, right? I mean, it's like the story, Lolita, of the man on his deathbed and his wife's in the room and he's like taking his last breath. And at a end, he could say to his wife, he said, honey, I want to tell you about the time I cheated with our neighbor, Mary. Hello. There's something that just ain't right about that, right?
Timing was way off.
But you see, for him, that was really about him, right? Did he need to do it? Maybe at some soul level, that's what he had to do. But then there she is. Now what? And this is the arena that you work in. You work in the arena of, mental, emotional, physical harmony. And there is your level of expertise that does that. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, this is really key. This is almost like the punchline. How do you know if you've totally forgiven someone? Right? How do you know? How do you know if you have totally forgiven someone? You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of my mama. My mama from the Deep South. I was horrible at cleaning my ears. I was just horrible. My version of cleaning my ears was, okay, let me just wipe that down. Never look in the mirror. You can't look in the mirror. But when mama looked at those ears, she would look at me and say, you have left a little something in there. Totally forgiven. Totally. Have you left a little something in there that still needs to get cleaned out? When we come back, Lolita Smith is going to tell us why it's important to get it all out. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
All clear.
Tune into the Life Strategy Show with your life strategy mentor, Lolita Smith, and say yes to bringing prosperity and success to your future right here and right now. Life is a picture of your mind, and Lolita is here to help you imagine it. Say goodbye to the strings of the past that have been holding you back for far too long. Rise up with Lolita and say yes to the solutions, prosperity, and unlimited possibility. Visit lifestrategymentor.com. That's lifestrategymentor.com.
Are limitations holding you back from living a powerful and authentic life? Are you able to see yourself and others through a lens of empathy and compassion? Tune into Awaken Your Truth with me, Ratika Rose, to discover how to free your mind, heal your life, and embody your power. Second and fourth Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio, YouTube, and across all podcast stations. I'm on a mission to inspire a shift in you, so together we can collectively heal the world. To learn more about me, visit ratikarose.com.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack, and I'm excited to tell you about the latest technology. It is new to this country, and it's just amazing. It's out of Germany. The Healy is state-of-the-art technology for improving and changing the body vibration. I have more information about the Healy on my website, maryjanemack.com, or you can call the office at 888-777-4232.
Looking for the next Can't Put It Down book? Pick up Unapologetically Favored by Courtney Cottrell, 21-year active duty Master Chief with the U.S. Navy and motivational speaker. See this beautiful coming-of-age story unfold through the eyes of a true leader. A testimony of tenacity, faith, and self-love that will have you embarking on your own path of self-discovery. Visit unapologeticallyfavored.com to learn more about Courtney and her work.
How many times do you find yourself saying, "It was nothing," or "just doing my job," when really you knocked it out of the park? How did you get like this? Next time someone tells you "great job," you'll know how to accept it and not deflect it by listening to Courage to Be Seen Radio with host Sherry Clark. Sherry Clark is an experienced global engineering leader, coach, and mentor. From her experiences one-on-one coaching to corporate consulting and executive coaching, Sherry has learned many women need at least 3 things to discover and face success. Learn about the ACES program, how to survive male-dominated fields with grace and authenticity, and reach the top without ever once giving up on who you are. Courage to Be Seen host Sherry Clark explores the awesome power of your entire self and how far you can go by being more you. Check out her website, couragetobeseen.com. You have the courage to be seen.
There you go. Here we go. Stand by.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back, Lolita Smith. We're having a great conversation. This is her fantastic show. This is the Life Strategy Show. Now, why would we be talking about this? Because I want to get back to really what her message is about. It's like bringing prosperity and success in your future. And why is that important? Why are we talking about this? Because in the end, when the self is broken or the self feels like it's like a mishmash and you have some things hanging on to it like resentment, and then you can learn forgiveness, it opens up a door. Because without it, can you really enter the world of prosperity? Can you really demand for the universe to bring something in your life? Well, no, because you're carrying on an energy that, 1, is going to limit yourself, 2, is going to cut off any idea of the unlimited possibilities, and 3, you ever like angrily demand from the universe something? I don't know about you, but that did not work for me. So today, that's what we're talking about. Look, we have a few minutes left. There's a reason you're talking about this, because what you're doing is you're looking at forgiveness to set up that prosperity future, right? Tell us about that.
Yes. And before we went into the break, we were talking about the steps to forgiveness. And so, we'll speed it along to make sure we cover them. The last one was the third one we talked about was look at both points of view objectively, separate yourself from the situation and look at it from an outsider looking in. Recall if you were hypersensitive or hypercritical during the time. The next step is to extend empathy or sympathy for the situation. And that's just understanding where someone is coming from, because being more compassionate can help you reduce feelings of negativity. And if it's no way that you can empathize with the person or the situation, then you need to look within and remember when you offended someone and you needed for them to forgive you. Sometimes we are so focused on what others have done to ourselves that we negate the fact that we've done things to others that we needed to be forgiven for. The next thing, and Dr. Pat talked about this earlier, and this is point 5. Should I let the person know I've forgiven them? This is one of the most, pertinent points that we'll talk about as well today. Forgiveness is personal. It helps you to let go. So there is absolutely no need whatsoever to tell a person you've forgiven them. And maybe it's about timing. If you feel like you want to go and ask their forgiveness and tell them you've forgiven them for what they've done, then that's something that you need to really give deep thought, because people may perceive it as you are saying, you've done something to me, and become defensive. They may not be ready for you to say, I forgive you, because then you're telling them they did something wrong to you. So This is totally personal, and you have to decide whether or not you would like to let a person know that, you've forgiven them. I know I heard you. Did you want to interject and add to that? Because you brought up this, this point. So it's no need. This is personal. This is all about you today, especially if you no longer have contact with them, or it's for your own physical or emotional well-being, then it's not necessary to do that. It's just necessary for you to move on to your next place in life. And then, one of the things, as we're wrapping up, Dr. Pat said, well, how do you truly know whether you've forgiven someone? And I'm like, I'm glad you asked that question. If you are no longer angry, if you are not feeling hurt or weighed down, when you think about the person who offended you or the situation, then you have forgiven them. It doesn't mean you've forgotten the incident. It doesn't mean that you've condoned it or that you agree with it. It just means that it no longer causes you that inner pain or turmoil that you've experienced before. And it means that you simply moved on and you've decided not to let it hold you back and control your life from moving forward in a better future.
Look, many people have written about energy. Many people have written about spirituality. Many people have written about prosperity. And across the board, in many, many ways, what you're speaking to, and what is one of the most important messages to give self to self, is you just will not manifest what you really what your heart really desires if you don't master this. And this is one aspect of the self we're talking about today. And the reason I think you brought it up is it's foundational. It is without this piece, you could do your vision board. You can put lights on your vision board. You can have talking things on your vision board. And if you are carrying the energy or the weight of anything that needs to be addressed with forgiveness, oopsie, it's going to be a mess, isn't it?
It's very hard to move forward. If you harbor negative, what you're going to continue to attract is negative. That's why you release it. So then when you start having positive feelings and positive attitudes, that's what you start attracting. What you speak, what you put out is what comes back to you and mirrors what you're given. So you cannot move into a prosperous, successful, bright future with holding an ought or an offense against another person. You have to let that go, which releases you, that allows you to be able to move forward in what you have planned and destined for your life.
Yeah. And I want to say to everybody, that applies to you. You think you're sitting around there and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm walking around every day beating myself up for that 15, 20, 30 pounds I gained over during the COVID period. Hello, that is a place to start, because that is not going to get you on whatever the pathway is you want to get on. Lolita, thank you for today. I would love to know your personal message. My gosh, what a call to action this is. Right? But I want to know what your personal message is. I want to know what you'd like to leave us with today. And thank you so much for bringing this on.
Thank you very much. I would like to say, he who angers you controls you. So do not ever give anyone that power over the decisions and what you choose to do in your life. And I leave you this question: who do you need to forgive today that has weighed heavily on you for years and robbed you of your peace and joy? I admonish you to start your healing journey today and follow these steps to freedom and prosperity in your life.
Oh boy, we're not done. Lolita Smith will be back because we're not done talking about it. She is your life strategy mentor. Go to lifestrategymentor.com and make sure you check out her coaching platform, because this is what she does. This is what she lives for. This is about creating a life strategy for you that's going to get you from where you are to where you want to go. It doesn't matter where you are. Lolita, Thank you for an awesome show. I was taking notes. I was typing some notes when you were talking here, because I got something I got to do here for like a thing here. Thank you so much. You rock.
Thank you so much for having me.